With thousands of video games being released since their emergence in the later half of the 20th century, there were bound to be a few which would stir up controversy. These would range from concerns around violence in the games to racism. Today we will look at the 10 of the most controversial video games ever released. This will not include games deemed controversial for buggy releases or microtransactions. Number 10. Night Trap. Night Trap is a 1992 interactive movie developed by Digital Pictures and published by Sega. Night Trap tasks the player to observe teenage girls having a sleepover visiting a house which, unbeknownst to them, is infested with vampires. The player watches live surveillance footage and triggers traps to capture anyone endangering the girls. The game's controversy arose from misuse of violence, sexual themes and claims of child abuse, as the main characters are teenagers. Number 9. JB Harold Murder Club. JB and Harold Murder Club is a 1986 murder mystery adventure game developed by Riverhill Soft and released for the NEC PC-98. A horrible murder has taken place in the sleepy little town of Liberty. Bill Robbins, a wealthy man known for his wild womanizing ways, is the victim, and the list of possible suspects is growing. As JB Harold, you must figure out who, what, where and why of the case. The game generated some controversy to its references to a fictional Unsolved, with the game having any warning on the box. It was also criticised for the use of sexual themes throughout the game. Number 8. JFK Reloaded. JFK Reloaded is a 2004 first-person shooter game developed and published by Traffic Games. The player is given the role of Lee Harvey Oswald as he assassinates the US President John F. Kennedy. The game was criticised for its controversial content matter in recreating the assassination and was condemned by a spokesman for Senator Ted Kennedy as being despicable. Number 7. Kaboom. Kaboom is a free browser game released on Newgrounds in April 2002. Players control a man of an Arab appearance moving either left or right through a vaguely Middle Eastern looking street. Men, women and children walk back and forth along the street at various speeds. The aim of the game is to kill and wound as many men, women and children as possible using an explosive vest. The game received heavy criticism from terror victims due to the attacks being the focus of the game. Number 6. Silent Hill Homecoming. Silent Hill Homecoming is a 2008 survival horror game published by Konami and the 6th game in the Silent Hill franchise. Homecoming follows the journey of Alex Shepard, a soldier returning to his hometown of Shepherd's Glen, where he finds the town is in disarray and his younger brother is missing. He discovers more about the Order, a cult, as well as the town's history and his own past. The game was initially banned and refused in Australia and Germany due to the extreme violence and disturbing imagery within the game. It also included graphic sexuality, nudity, copious amounts of blood spraying, decapitations and partially dismembered corpses, and numerous scenes of attacks, fighting, torture and death. Number 5. Death Race. Death Race is an arcade driving video game developed and released in 1976. The object of the game is to run over stick men known as gremlins, who then scream and are replaced by tombstones once ran over. The player must then avoid the tombstones further in the game, increasing the challenge. It was one of the first games to focus on killing humanoid figures, which is why it drove such a controversy. Number 4. Super Columbine Massacre RPG. Super Columbine Massacre RPG is a role-playing video game created by Danny Ladone and released in 2005. The game recreates the 1999 Columbine shootings near Littleton, Colorado. Players assume the roles of the gunmen Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold and act out the massacre with flashbacks related to parts of Harris and Klebold's past experiences. As you can imagine, and rightly so, the game received heavy criticism for trivialising the events of that tragic day. The perpetrators of the Dawson College shooting also claimed that the game was their inspiration for their actions. Number 3. Dance Dance Revolution Solo. Dance Dance Revolution Solo is a short-lived series of games spun off from the main series of a similar name. Gameplay in the solo version is nearly identical to that of the main series, however the addition of a 3-panel mode in its base mix and 2000 releases, as well as a 6-panel mode in all of its main releases. The main controversy around the game focuses on a set of units released in San Diego, California. Some songs were said to contain images which promoted drug and alcohol abuse, as well as one containing scantily clad nurses. Due to the game's targeted demographic, several complaints were lodged against the developers. Number 2. South Park The Stick of Truth. South Park The Stick of Truth is a 2014 role-playing video game published by Ubisoft. Based on the animated series of the same name, the game follows a new kid who has moved to the town, which becomes involved in an epic role-play fantasy war involving humans, wizards, elves, who are fighting control of the all-powerful Stick of Truth. With the game being based on South Park, it was always going to attract some controversy. The game was heavily censored in Europe and Australia due to its depiction of an anal probe by aliens and the game performing an abortion. In their place, the game displays a still image of a statue holding its face in its hand with an explicit description of the events depicted in the scene. The German version was specifically censored due to the use of Nazi and Hitler related imagery, including the swastika and the Nazi salutes, which are prohibited under German law. Number 1. Gotcha. Gotcha is an arcade game developed by Atari and released in October 1973. One player, the pursuer, attempts to catch the other, the pursued. If they do, a point is scored and the players reset positions to start the game over once again. Controversy around the game rose due to the controls being perceived as pink rubber bulges that were meant to represent ladies' breasts, and were squeezed in order to control the characters' movements on the screen. Damn, there's some messed up games out there. But anyway, that is 10 of the most controversial video games I've ever made, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to punch the like button, comment down below, of course subscribe if you're new to the channel, follow my Twitter and Instagram links down below, and I shall see you in the next video.